welcome. I'm so glad to have you here with me today. I'm delighted today to have a beautiful conversation with the beautiful Veronica Krestow, all about creating a life and work life that really you love and resonates with your heart. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Tumi. I am a dancer, a poet, a holistic minded medical doctor, and I love supporting people in living their most conscious, healthiest, and delicious lives through my healing dances that I perform for people and my guidance and expertise as a holistic medical doctor. On this channel, I love creating content around holistic health guidance in general, my raw vegan lifestyle, and minimalism as a health power act, and lots of dance. And if any of that sounds interesting to you, then consider subscribing down below. So let's get into it. In this video, again, we have the wonderful Veronica Krestow. And I think this video is going to be so full of wisdom, health wisdom, because for me, your work life is an integral part of your entire well being. And how do we take that part, your 9 to 5, and make that to be something that is delicious and conscious and supports your well being? We're going to talk to Veronica about that today. Veronica, thank you so much for being here with me and us.
Oh, it is such a joy. I can't stop smiling because you are such a beam of light, and what you're bringing to the world, as you know, I'm a huge fan of. And I love just the energy you bring and the purity and the authenticity in which you share. And I got chills when you said to make our work life delicious, really, because it is an integral part of our lives. And instead of it being like this thing we have to recover from, can it be delicious? I've never put it in those words or thought of it that way. And I love that.
Thank you
Delicious
so
living
much.
and
That's it.
working.
That is
Yes.
it. That's it. And it's not one, you don't do one and then come to the other. It's for me, it's all intertwined. And I think you speak about that so eloquently. So I would love to get into that today. And I want to share just a quick blurb about you, if you're okay, and then talk about how personally I came to hear about your work and got a chance to engage with you. So, Veronica, um, I'm just looking down at my notes, y'all, as I do. So, um, Veronica is the author of The Diamond Process, using everyday triggers to awaken the treasure within. And she's an internationally esteemed transformational coach. And I first got to hear about Veronica's work through her YouTube videos like years ago. And she was speaking about the diamond process, and her speaking about it and the way she speaks about this thing that she created affected me so much and affected my healing process so much that I included it in my book, um, my book, Delicious Healing. And she's a big part of chapter 5 for all of you who've read that book. And those of you who haven't, I invite you to. And chapter 5 is about the emotional work, really looking at our emotions as teachers and as valuable in helping our emotional healing and our healing in general, our physical healing. And it was Veronica's diamond process that was so helpful for me in really finally looking and honoring, as I call it, honoring and releasing my emotions. And then I reached out to Veronica because she was doing something called Mindful YouTube University, which she can share about much better than I. And this was at the start of my YouTube channel journey about 7 years ago now. I was only using YouTube at the time as a platform for uploading my dances to then perform in festivals and concerts. But I wanted to do something more. I wanted to finally integrate my holistic health knowledge and my dance. And I was like, how do I get on camera? And her course was changed the course of my whole YouTube thing and really the way I do my work. So I have so much to be thankful to you for, Veronica. And now I feel like I've tapped into a little bit more about this way you speak about making your work life heart-centered, soul-led. So I would love to
Yeah.
start by first asking if you have anything else to add about the work you do, and then how you came to do the work you're doing now, being a transformational coach, and specifically around this idea of helping people making their work life soul led, heart centered.
Mm. Oh, it's so beautiful. I think, as far as my story goes, long, like a while ago, prior to writing the Diamond Process book, I had reached like that pinnacle of life, that typical story you hear, where on the surface of things, everything was really, really good. I was in an amazing relationship, partnership, traveling the world on private planes, first class. I know that's not a sustainable way of living, but at that time, it was like reaching what people would look at as a fairy tale, like out of a movie, in terms of the way I looked, the relationship I was in. I was just starting my career. I even had very beautiful, authentic spiritual friends and community. Everything on the surface looked great, but inside I was just in such anguish and emotional turmoil. And I felt really ashamed because on the surface of things, my life looked so good. And I couldn't understand why I had these rage outbursts and just so much pain and grief and suffering. And it felt like there was a bottomless pit, and I didn't know how to even work through it because I didn't want anyone to see that true me. So long story short, I end up going to the Redwood Forest, leaving my relationship, my work, my friends, everything. I start over. I actually start going into simplifying my life and just shifting. And that was when I really just I remember one day landing in my soul and have these words after deep depression, even romanticizing suicide, these words coming up going, I love my soul. And it came from such a deep place of like meeting myself. And it was just like, oh, this is what I've been longing for. And so during that time, I was, healing using the Diamond Process, but I didn't have words for that. It was just like I was basically moving through these 7 steps. Unbeknownst to me was a system. As I looked back, I was like, oh, I kept repeating the same steps. And then it turned into a book and a coach training program and so on. Now, the reason I share that part of the story is because so often it's like when we think about a soul-centered business or a soul-centered career, we often think it's like going to come from these like beautiful, inspired moments of clarity and just lots of action. But oftentimes it's born out of pain. It's born out of, think of your story, Tumi. How did your incredible career and business start? From your own health diagnosis, from your own challenges. And what I love about soul-centered work is realizing life isn't giving you something to hurt you, to take you down. They're rites of passage into our soul work. If we take them as such, if we get the right support, if we are tender with ourselves, if we, instead of looking out at the world and follow the rat race, we actually turn within and really listen to what our pace is and have the courage to follow that and tune into channels like Tumi's that will continually guide us to remember who we are and that we are here to live delicious lives, okay? And the mainstream is not going to say that, not going to tell you that. But as far as how did this work that I do translate from the deep emotional work and then certifying coaches in the Diamond Process to now helping empaths get visible and share their gifts and do so in a soul-centered way while making sure they're balanced and their bodies feel good. That came out of just really the people who continue to come my way are like me. They're sensitive, highly creative empaths who know they're here to share something beautiful with the world. They know they want to help others, but they are stuck in doubt and fear and all of this perfectionism or comparison or procrastination or people pleasing or whatever the energetic block is for them. So I'm really passionate about helping people create their soul-centered businesses, empaths especially. Because imagine what happens when we as empaths our confidence and I don't mean false confidence. I mean, we're really connected to our souls, and we're able to share our messages in a way that are authentic to us. So we reach our real people, the people who are waiting for us. And together, what happens to the collective is, I don't even think we can see the real effect of it. It's so exponentially massive.
I love your vision. And I was just have this big smile on my face because my next question was just that was, first of all, thank you for sharing a little bit about your beautiful story. And
Mm,
I couldn't agree more that it often starts, that whole thing from Leonard Cohen, start to that crack, and that's how the light gets in, and that's how the blossoming, and that's when everything gets stripped away and you're in that dark place, you can actually, everything else is silenced. You can finally
mhm.
meet yourself, and you can
Yeah.
finally say, how do I really want to live? How do I want to live? And what kind of life do I really want to create? Um, but your vision, Veronica, wow. And it gets me to that question of why is this so important? Why is it so important that we have people, empaths out there being visible, being confident? Can you put to words why this, the work you do? I feel like I have a strong sense, but I would love to hear it because somebody's probably sitting there going, why me? Why is it important that I go out and do this and be me?
Yeah. So thank you for that question. I just imagine right now how does an empath walk through life? I'm picturing just deep connection with nature, sensitivity, walking into a room, feeling the energy in a room. Maybe things feel a bit overwhelming, overstimulating, right? So there's a very clear awareness that what is going on in the mainstream is not healthy. Um, and there is a reverence for life, for real life, for the planet we walk upon, and who feeds us, nourishes us, serves us, and all the animals, plants, living beings, all the humans on our beautiful earth. When you think of the way an empath walks through life, if an empath is hiding out and doesn't want to be seen, there's just all we're seeing are the very loud egotistical voices. I mean, we all have egos and there's a healthy side to ego, but typically those who are loud are those who are all about, what do I get? Me. This isn't everyone, but the majority who are just out there loud and in your face. I see these people before one of my YouTube videos starts in the ads. It drives me crazy. They're like, "Shh," and they're usually standing in front of a Lamborghini and like some mansion. And I'm like, oh my God, do I have any choice in the commercials that come in front of my videos? Please. But so I mean, as an empath, I literally feel like, ugh, like I'm being stabbed. Like when I see a video, I don't know if you can relate to that, but it's just like, oh, it's so out of harmony. It's so out of alignment. It's so one person centered and not the collective centered that it hurts. Whereas an empath naturally, probably to a fault when it's disempowered, is overextends so much and is so conscious of everyone else being okay that they can often lose themselves in that, and then their health can suffer and their finances suffer, or they'll go into burnout patterns, which is what happened to me a few years ago. um, I had a health diagnosis, shocked me. I actually haven't mentioned this to you. Totally shocked me. I'm writing it in my memoir. I haven't like said what it is or anything, and I just don't even want to name it. But I was able to change my numbers, like my health, my blood work within 3 months. It was unbelievable. And then consistently. But really, what was happening was, as an empath, I got so into what I was doing and I love my work so much. And my wealth was growing rapidly. And it's something that I never thought I could do. Like, as a highly sensitive person, I just thought that like I would love that, but it's going to be too hard for me. It'll never work. And it started to really pop and work for several years. And I got so addicted to that because I felt so much worthiness, like from the impact I was making and the income that was coming in, that I forgot about my body. My body was like, I can't sit like this every day. Like, I need sunshine. I need to move. I need love. I need to be listened to. So the body communicates with blood work, right? Or symptoms. And it was the best gift. In the same way the emotional breakdown was a gift, the health breakdown was the biggest gift for me, because now why I'm so passionate about helping entrepreneurs, especially empaths, find a way to build a beautiful, grow a beautiful business from balance and harmony and well-being, is because it's what the message I needed, years ago. And had I had it, I think I would have made very different choices. There's no rush, right? It's just about being consistently breaking through our blocks, our energetic blocks, and bringing our voices to center stage so that we can start to influence this beautiful humanity from love.
Oh, you're so eloquent. And I love, there are a couple of things I wanted to highlight is this idea of just bringing balance. The idea that,
Mm,
okay, the guys with Lamborghinis, they have a voice, they have a place at the table. And right now they have a very big place at the table. And what's needed is that idea of balance, that the world needs all of us, it needs all our voices. And the empaths, and I think people who question, am I an empath? You probably are one. If you're drawn to my channel of Veronica's, you probably are
yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Are so needed. And I think about Mother Nature. I'm always in
Mm,
nature a lot. My work, for myself, for my body, for my well-being, for the work I do. And I see so much signs and so much lessons from Mother Nature. And right now, Veronica and I are speaking on the equinox and that beautiful shift that Mother Nature does twice a year. And I feel like seasonal shifts are such a wonderful way of seeing the idea of balance and
mm,
restoration and letting the blooming voices speak. And
mm,
your voice is so needed for that balance and for the healing and reparation of the world.
yeah.
And I also love what Veronica highlighted, which is that it's not also just about looking at about saving the world. It might also be about saving your life. Okay. As a physician, I see so many people who come to me. Um, I didn't know, Veronica, this part of your story happens. I see it all the time that they're flourishing in other parts of their lives, especially career wise, and then they hit a block. Um,
Mhm,
the whole idea of pay attention inside now, the body pain starts giving them pain
mm,
because something is not in alignment, because something is not in balance. And so, for your well being, paying attention to how you work, paying attention to is your work so aligned, paying attention to, as Veronica said, lovely, your pace, I think is so, so crucial. And you use the word blocks, and it's so funny. I feel like you keep there's this flow in our conversation. And my very next question was that for you. What are the common blocks you see people come to you with around this idea of soul-centered work? What are the blocks people have to slowing down and listening within and
mm.
creating a life that it really is soul-centered, or work life
Yeah,
that's
that's a
soul-centered?
great question. I'm actually in this like mad scientist mode in my life right now, where I've been doing a lot of trainings in my membership around like confident visibility. And so all these things are pouring through me, and 7 core visibility blocks, which are also, business blocks or soul-centered business blocks downloaded. It's like the 7 core visibility blocks. The first one is the small equals safe syndrome. So this is like, if I am tiny enough, you can't hurt me. If I am invisible enough, you won't see me, so you can't judge me. So it's this vow of smallness that ensures that although I will never get my gift out into the world, it ensures that you can't hurt me. And so it's being more committed to being safe and not facing rejection than it is to this pulsing. I love how you said just that blooming of one's purpose that is here to add to the reparation and the restoration of our planet, of our world, 100%. But if we're hiding and oh, this one's big. This one's like the first chakra, right? It's the base. And then the 7 just go up and up and up. It's like building a house. So this first one, really comes down to creating safety for ourselves. This is why I love the path of business and visibility, because like you said, it is a path to saving ourselves. Because when I put myself out there and I make a video and then I hit end broadcast, and then my mind goes into, oh my God, I didn't say that thing right. Or, oh, I made a fool of myself. Or, oh my God, I have to take the video down. This has happened to me recently where I was like, I was worked all day, made a video. I looked so weathered. I looked so tired in the video. In my perception, I was just like, and I was like, I have to take this one down. Like this one, I just really need to take this one down. But I have a deal with myself that I don't take the videos down, because it's not about the audience. It's about me owning every facet. It's the same thing in the diamond process. It's like owning all the facets, not just the confident, radiant powerhouse, but what about the one who falls and fails and is tired sometimes and does have breakdowns and meltdowns? Like, is she worthy of being seen? And if I can be seen in all those fluctuations and facets, I'm free. And if I'm free, then I've really lived my purpose. Serving others is the bonus. But if I can save myself and genuinely be present through the fluctuations, I have done what I've come for. I've accomplished what I came for.
Oh, I love that because I feel like it's a paradigm shift that's you ignore yourself and you just flog, 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 flog. Then there's this idea of almost a self-sacrificial empath where it's like, I have to put that video out because somebody out there needs that. And it doesn't matter if I look terrible. And that I feel like is something I would say to myself. But you take it next level. And I love that next level. It's not about, you said it, it's not about the audience, which I think people would be like, really? And you'd be like, of course it's about everybody else. Right? But it's not. It actually begins with you. It's about that radical acceptance of all parts of me. And I love how you said the bonus is that it then gets also healing for people. And it can be healing for people in ways you don't even recognize. I had a patient of mine that I had a session with. He said, I just saw a video of yours and I just loved how it just was so not perfect. But
Yes,
I had this whole
exactly.
message. I had this whole other message that had nothing to do with imperfection. It was probably about like B12 deficiency. And he said, you were just like imperfect. And I was like, that's really cool because you offer then people, right? The you offer people
Permission.
the permission to again accept their all of them, all their selves.
And
So I
it's
love that
such
you
a
said that.
relief. Isn't it a relief? Isn't it a relief when you see somebody imperfect? I mean, it is to me when I honestly have reached this place where I can't learn from people who have that whole perfect thing going on. I can't. And sometimes they have really good wisdom, but something in me itches. Like, it's just what happens is I take full responsibility for this. It triggers my perfectionism. And so I can't relax in that person's presence, because instead of presence, there's like this mask. And then suddenly my mask gets triggered. And suddenly I'm like, oh, I need the mask. It's really old programming. So you just named another block, the perfectionism. And people, if you have perfectionism going, if you're struggling with procrastination, if you keep procrastinating, doing the thing you want to do, those watching, if you're like, oh, I know I have this message, I know I have this thing I want to share, and everything else gets in the way, I'm just too busy. Well, there's a couple things, but one of them may be perfectionism. Another block is lack of intimacy with one's emotions. So oftentimes when people don't have time, they're like, I just don't have time. I'm overwhelmed. I'm spread too thin. There's usually something that we don't want to get intimate with, whether it's a breakdown in our connection with our emotions, with some part of ourselves. It's begging for love, and we don't want to look at that. So we keep staying really busy. Or there's a breakdown in connection with somebody, and we don't want to face that, and we don't want to go deeper there. So it's like these deeper blocks manifest in so many ways. And Yeah, so there are really 7 of them, but we're touching on these. And the first one, becoming the safe, like the solution to the first one, this nugget is big enough to transform someone's visibility, is to become the safe place for yourself. Become the safe harbor for your emotions when you feel rejected, abandoned, really have the power to sit. I think this is the core issue in our world. If we all knew how to regulate our emotions and be with ourselves in those moments, rather than thinking about the person who triggered us, but actually coming inside and holding that little girl or little boy or the little one inside who's tender or afraid or hurt or alone, our whole world changes. True confidence is the natural byproduct of going deep into the interiority of ourselves. And when we feel inferior, it's just because we haven't taken refuge in our interior. When we feel inferior, it's because we're so fixed on the exterior and we haven't really taken residence in our interior world. And that's what visibility is. It helps us, it puts us out there. It seems like it's for that out there, but it's going to pull up all our crap. And when it pulls up all our stuff, now we use the tools to like clean it up so we can shine brighter.
Wow, this is poetic, right? It was poetic for me. It was, and so it really hit home. And I love, before you were talking about, this happened to me a couple of weeks ago. I love that you said that, because I think there's this idea that we do this work and then we have superseded the need to keep doing the work, that we have achieved, confidence, visible empath, we have the crown done. And the idea and the
Check.
truth of it, yeah, right? The truth of it, that it's like meditation, it's this practice, right? Reminding myself to breathe is a practice, and it's one that is so important to me, and as is this work that you do. And I love that you as a mistress, as a master of this, it teaches people, you get to keep practicing the work. And I want to bring up, where people I think might resonate, an example that I think highlights some of the beautiful pearls Veronica just shared. This happened just like last night, so this is raw and real. I have been feeling so good about the work that I'm doing. It feels so led, it feels spirit channeled. I'm integrating my dance and my poetry and my healing work. And then I posted something on Instagram and I got this thing on my feed, just came up. And it was from somebody I follow, because I have one of the ways I pace myself and I go to my interior is I have very beautiful boundaries around when I'm going to engage in social media and how long, and even when during
Beautiful.
the day, and how I come into it. Very clear.
Beautiful.
But I was posting and it popped up. Usually I do what I call post and ghost. I just post and I'm out of there.
That's exactly what
That's
I
that's
do.
that's
I love that post and ghost.
post and
I
ghost.
love that.
Part
Oh,
of my
that's
self-care. But it just came up, and it was somebody I followed. They mentioned, oh, it was on Instagram, I've reached over 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. And I was like, oh, really? And I just went over to her YouTube channel, saw that she had over 100,000 subscribers, saw the frequency of her posts, not much. And all of a sudden, the monkey mind took over. Why don't I have this number of subscribers? Not necessarily 100,000, just why don't I have more? And I'll be very clear. I've never really been, and Veronica was helpful to me with this, fixated on the numbers of subscribers. What was important, has always been important to me, is this, just that it has impact, that it changes people's lives, the work that I'm putting out there. But in the monkey mind was like, well, more numbers, more subscribers means more impact. And all of a sudden, monkey mind was taking over comparison, self-judgment. And what Veronica is saying, I lived last night. I took a deep breath. I put off, because what happened was I was able to distance and watch myself spiraling. I turned off my phone, put it away, and I breathed. And I just breathed and I started journaling about the work I do, why it's important. I went to my interior. I also needed to talk about it with my beloved, my sweetheart, last night. Like, here's what's coming up for me. Here's what's raw. And what was beautiful about that trigger, here's Veronica's work, trigger as treasure, was I realized I got clearer again about the work that I do, that I don't need to increase the frequency of posts I do. Because let me be clear, that person doesn't post that often on YouTube, but she is posting so much on all other social media. And that's one way, that's one path. It's not
Mhm.
my path. And I
Yes.
became very clear about that last night. Like, it may take me longer for my work to have impact,
Mm.
but the way I do it is incredibly important to me for my well-being, for my peace, for being able to
Yes.
go just 30 feet down and be in the sea and be with my child and be with my husband in the time and way I want to. So
Yes.
mind chatter still keeps coming up. I go to my interior, and I think that was just to share that story, that I'm living that, and it's a practice.
Thank you so much for shining light and giving a tangible way to put this in practice. Because what you did, what I heard you say is you felt that massive trigger. You felt yourself, the monkey mind take over, you leave yourself, and then you turned off the phone, boundaries, went into, like, sat in bed or wherever you were, sat down with yourself in sacred space and just went within, and then came out into your journal to let your interior speak and see, why do I do this work? I mean, till this day, to me, I hold my little, like, recently it's more like my 11-year-old self. It used to be like the little version of me, like 4 or 5 for many years. But the 11-year-old version of me who went through some things and learned to dim down, learned to hide, learned it wasn't safe to be all that she was, learned that she couldn't be too confident, it would ruffle feathers or whatever the case may be. She learned to please, like she became an expert at pleasing and masking with perfectionism. So I check in with that. I have my beloved next to me, and then I am holding myself, imagining this 11-year-old girl, and I tune in with her and I say, sweetheart, what was this day like for you? Like, is there anything that you needed that I wasn't aware of? And it's so powerful to have that friendship or mothering turned inward, because what's interesting is the part of me that's more vulnerable has incredible insight into how to live a balanced life. So she might say, we didn't even see the sunshine today. Like, how did we go all day or, indoors working without nature time? And it's like, oh, wow, right. So then there's just, shifting that and finding balance. And it's a dance. You're definitely the healthiest person I've ever met, because I've met you in person and you shine brighter in person, if possible. If you can imagine this, everybody, I know Tumi shines really, really bright on video, but if you meet her in person, you're like, how, like, what is happening? I just remember you telling me your age and I'm like, there's no way. And I think it's because you are so connected to our earth. Your diet is so incredibly pure, and you're so connected to your body, like to your dance and your poetry is a lived expression of what our bodies are built to be, built to receive and built to just shine in such a bright way. And that, without you saying a word to me, you're serving us. And then you start sharing and it's like, oh my God, your wisdom is endless. So I just thank you. And you obviously do the work, you continue doing the work. So anyone out there who's watching this and going, oh, I'm just an imposter, I can't share, I'm not there yet, I have more to learn, I have to heal myself first. There's a beautiful way to actually put yourself out there and heal simultaneously, because bringing your message into the world that feels right for you step by step, then will simultaneously pull up the things that have been blocks. So you do exactly what Tumi did. Day after day, you sit with yourself, you go into your interior, you radically accept yourself. And the next thing you know, you show up with greater strength, greater power, greater truth. And it's this kind of opening and closing, right? Visible and then turn within. I call it bravery and recovery, bravery and recovery. So it's like a lotus flower, opens and closes day after day. But if we stay closed and in that first block, we rob not only our people from receiving the gold we're here to share with them, but we also rob ourselves of what it's like to be fully ourselves and to live in our full potential. Because there's nothing, to me, there's just such pain in holding back, you know? And there's always that next edge, right? I feel like, that always that next edge. And I'm just calling all empaths forward to love yourselves deeply and shine, come out with your message, shine. It's like, do it messy, do it imperfectly. I always tell the sisters in the membership, like, do it as if we're a mess. We're in a sandbox right now, you know? And just let's get messy and give the perfectionist, like send the perfectionist to Barbados and let the perfectionist take a really long vacation. So whew, I so appreciate this conversation, this time, because I feel people right now watching this popping, like they're having some kind of awakening or some kind of realization. And that's the power of community, of videos like this and conversations like this.
Oh, Veronica, there's so much wisdom and so much of thinking. I'm seeing your diamond in the diamond process. It's just
Mm,
so much light coming from you and from what you're sharing. And speaking of lack of perfectionism, being real and raw, and this is authenticity. I keep getting these notifications. You've got 20% battery, 10% battery, and I thought, oh, how can I figure it out? And I said, look, we're going with the flow, and
mm,
I think this is a beautiful segue to just say, I think Veronica has given a little bit about all the beautiful things that she offers, where you can engage with
mm.
her and find out more about blocks to creating the work life of your best dreams, and healing those blocks. And so I think it's a perfect time. I'm thinking about, yeah, I'm going to it's just rolls. The next thing is maybe, what do you offer people? How can they, through your work, in doing that work of releasing the blocks and stepping into alignment and
Mm.
creating and living a soul-centered work life?
There's several different ways. I think the easiest thing to do is go to veronicakrestow.com, and on my homepage, you can get my gift, which is it's basically a workshop to clear your energetic blocks and command your vibration, command your frequency. If you wanted to go deeper and work with me in person, I have a membership. And I also, on May 8th, am starting Confident Course Creation School. And that is basically where I step-by-step support you in mining up that body of work inside of you and bringing out a powerful course that helps people, and one you feel confident around selling or enrolling people into, because it's medicinal. The value of it. And that's also on my website, or that's thediamondprocess.com/course, and YouTube, my YouTube channel.
Amazing, her amazing YouTube channel. I feel I also, another way of boundary setting and having the pace and work life, I highly curate what I watch on YouTube. I watch very few channels on YouTube, but Veronica's feels like nourishment. Really, every
Mm,
time I go, it's nourishment for my soul, for my heart. It helps. It reminds me. Sometimes, like you said, community. You can have this paradigm shift. And when it goes against the grain, it is so helpful to have other people, other beings of light that you can look to say, oh yeah, my heart might be crazy, but it's the crazy I like, and she's living that and she's doing that. And
oh,
Veronica personifies that really. So thank you again for not just the work you are, not just the work you do, but the frequency that you embody,
mm.
is so inspiring to me. And I know will be so inspiring to those of you who don't know her yet that are watching this. So I'll leave the links to Veronica's, links all down below in the description box. Please check those out. And I guess I just want to maybe wrap up with just maybe asking you if there's anything you want to share, any you've shared so many nuggets of light. But anything else, maybe one actionable step, one thing that somebody's listening and they say, I want to go towards that direction, something of Veronica's wisdom that you could share with us to help people move towards their most delicious life.
I would say take off your shoes, walk straight outside, put your feet in the grass somewhere natural, whether it's water, grass, sand, soil. Sit under a tree, give yourself some sunshine, some fresh air to kind of clear away any of the stuff that has been accumulated from being online, and just listen. Ask our beautiful earth to strip away anything that's been in the way from you hearing your inner guidance. Have a journal and just start writing like Tumi did. I am on the message I want to share with our humanity is, and just freeform write, no judgment, freeform write. It could be out there like the great kind of crazy Tumi just said. I love that. The kind of crazy. I forgot how you said it, but I love it. And just freeform write and give yourself the space to listen to your soul. And if you feel wild and like you want to, make a video. And it could be for your eyes only, a video diary. Turn on your camera, look straight into the lens, and imagine someone you love and talk to them. Hey, I want to share something I've never shared before. I'm really passionate about this. Give yourself permission to share your authentic voice without the edit button, and practice. Keep your instrument practiced. What I mean by that is share without the edit button. Let your soul speak, whether it's written or vocal, in sacred space or with someone you trust, and see where it takes you. And thank you for this blessed, just symbiotic opportunity, this conversation to gather together with you and these amazing souls who I feel watching. And may this video, this time together, just blast out into our world, bringing more love, more freedom, more joy, and more vibrant health to our world and our planet.
May it be so. May it be so.
So it is.
Ooh, and so it is. Thank you all for being here with us. We are sending you so much love, so much light, so much encouragement. And if wherever you are in the world, know that you have a place on the table, that you are needed at the table, that you are part of the healing. And wherever in the world you are, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up because it helps this video to have the legs and to have the impact. Share it with anybody you think, wow, this person might really appreciate this. Share it out. And I send you love, much love, wherever you are. Take care.
Oh.